Omekongo Dibinga is a Les Brown Platinum motivational speaker, life coach, and award-winning poet. He's founder and CEO of Free Your Mind Publishing, a first-generation Congolese American who was described by Nikki Giovanni as outstanding, exciting, and while being new, very old. Omekongo writes and performs in English, French, and Swahili, and has occasionally used Wolof in his writings. He also co-stars in the television drama series Yama Africa, which airs in North America, Europe, Africa, and the West Indies. And he's released 5 CDs, 3 books, and 1 DVD. As a first-generation Congolese American, Omekongo grew up in an environment that led him to experience what he calls the best and the worst of both African and African-American societies. So tell me, as a motivational speaker, that's kind of what you do. You do so many things I can see here. But as a motivational speaker, what are the general themes and thoughts that you try to get across to your audiences?
The most important thing is I just try to have people be sold on themselves. We live in a society where we can go an entire week, an entire month, an entire year, and never hear something positive, never hear something affirming.
The first step that I want to share with you is W. W stands for watch the company that you keep. Because it has been said that you can't soar like an eagle when you're surrounded by pigeons. Once I changed my company and associated myself with higher level people, my thinking began to change. A guy by the name of Jay-Z said, a wise man told me don't argue with fools because people from a distance can't tell who is who. So I had to get the fools out of my life and start surrounding myself with people that'll take me up, because many of us get content because we have the biggest house on our block. We have the biggest college degree. We have the biggest political connection, and we settle because we're better than the people next to us. You want to get higher? Take yourself higher. W, watch the company that you keep. The I stands for information intake. You have to be careful what you consume and put into your mind every single day. So don't watch the news, ladies and gentlemen. The news is just death, weather, and traffic. It's 95 degrees today. There's a traffic jam on I-95, and somebody got killed down the street where you live. You're going to get that 24/7 nowadays. And just look at our kids, the information that they put into themselves, coming to school every day with negative, unedited music, and we wonder why they have so many problems in school. That's why I rewrite popular rap songs that I'm giving away for free today, to show kids they can rap without swearing or disrespecting women. You put positive information in your system for the first 20 minutes of your day, and the spirit of your day will be better. So spend your first 20 minutes of the day maybe reading your religious texts, maybe listening to something motivational from somebody up here or someone else that you know, or just looking at your family and your children and your nieces and nephews or grandparents and just being happy with what you have. Watch your information intake, and your life will change. And the last letter, ladies and gentlemen, before I get to the last letter, will everyone just do me a favor and just point to yourself and look around the room? If you look around the room, you will see that everybody is pointing to their heart and not their minds. However, we live in a society that tells us to focus on our minds and not our hearts. So the N stands for never give up on your heart and your dreams, because it has been said that whenever there's a conflict, you must follow your heart, because your heart will lead you towards your dreams and your mind will lead you towards your fears. It saddens me that our heart has been believing in us for all of our lives, despite what we do to poison it, and we have to find a time to start believing in it. Does that make sense to you, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, if you W, watch the company that you keep, I, watch the information that you intake, and N, never give up on your heart, you will what? You will win in this thing called life. I tell my friends that joking about AIDS never was and still isn't funny. And if they or you ask why, I will tell them that my cousin, Kuishi, she's dying of AIDS. Now, see, this is part of our problem. This is part of all of the artists who are here That is what our problem is with the music. Because America only wants to show you one type of music that celebrates being ugly, that celebrates killing each other. Because if you don't love each other, then you don't care about killing each other. So if 50 Cent and Ja Rule and Jay-Z and Tupac, if they're talking about guns, they're not responsible for crime, but they help us think that we're ugly. They help us think that we're not beautiful. Free your African mind, my brother. Free your African mind, my sister. Free yourself from those mental chains that say you don't come from that dark continent when ain't no one on the continent darker than you. Realize you've been brainwashed by wicked, wicked men, but your oppression has also been perpetrated by your own brethren. I know that the rapings, castrations, and lynchings are grueling, but the castration of the mind has more longevity than a lynching. You're inching further and further away from your motherland. You let them tell you that your slave-inspired slang was Ebonics and not a rich African language of English words, and so you were afraid to speak the word. You believed them when they told you your continent was dark. However, you didn't realize it's because they've been trying to steal her sunlight for centuries. From whitening the ancient Egyptian to whitening Beethoven to whitening Michael Jackson, you've been brainwashed. From slave codes to black codes to Jim Crow, you've been brainwashed. From K1 to cum laude, you've been brainwashed. You see, you want to be American, though America has decided she no longer needs you, while entire continent pleads you to come home. So free your African mind. Free those naps oppressed under that process. Free those hips and those tight jeans that only attract negative attention and suffocate your natural nilotic curves. Free those brown, luscious lips from ravishing red lipstick. Brothers, free your kidneys from sipping 40s and sip fresh waters from the Nile Basin. Free yourself from feeling you have to step all over your lady and step with me at my Kilimanjaro. Free your mind and stop trying to free Willie into our co-partner in our fight for liberation. To deny that you're African is to deny your place on earth as the first. Why claim to be a Negro and kill over street corners when you can claim ancient Nubia? Why claim a country when you can have a continent? I speak to all of you in denial, from African Americans to West Indians to even continental Africans. Malcolm and Marcus and Marley died trying to free your minds. Accepting your African blood turns you into a worldwide majority and not a national minority. It stretches your history much farther than Mississippi. It explains why you're as beautiful as you are, why you worship like no other, and why you can never be defeated while standing on the shoulders of God and your ancestors. All of you, rise! You ghetto prisoners who are really Ghanaian princes, rise! You downtrodden women who are really Baronian princesses, rise! You who think being born on the continent is enough to make you African, rise! This is a story about love. Not that Valentine's Day love or that motherly love. It ain't even about that really brotherly love. No. This is a story about the love that hate produced. I said this is a story about the love that hate produced. It's a story about Africa and all of her children still loving themselves after centuries of systemic injustice.